Welcome to the C3PO show. We are live in LA talking about future potential running backs for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm your co-host Corey Sullivan,
I'm Austin Lersten.
and we are with you together for once. It's been a while since I've seen you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I hope everybody out there is doing
I
well.
hope y'all are doing well, but I'm glad to be here with my man Austin, talking about the Seahawks' upcoming season. And we just came out with our quarterbacks, so now we're going to move on to the running backs. And these are running backs that we think that the Seahawks could potentially get. I know that we don't have that high of a pick. Leonard Fournette, who we're going to lead off with, obviously is not going to fall, late into the 20s for us. But with all the speculation and trades and things going on right now, we don't really know what's going to happen. So we're just going to go through all of the running backs that we think could be potential fits in the Seahawks system.
Correct. Yeah,
So-
the ones we like.
Exactly.
We like to call them our type of guys.
Our type of guys. So let's start it off with Leonard Fournette.
Okay.
A rare speed, a blending power.
Yes.
Just a guy that can do it all. Can run you over, and just as well shake you out of your shoes.
Yeah. A guy who's really just he's a power. Adrian Peterson is like I like to compare him to. Just someone who can run you over and wants to run you over, but also wants to then juke you. So I think especially within the Seahawks offense, we always need guys who know how to get out of the backfield. I think that's an important thing. People often forget about Marshawn Lynch is that he would get hit 4 yards, 5 yards deep, and he would make that 2 and sometimes 10. And that's what made him special, and that's what made our offense work. That's the reason we could have such a terrible offensive line. And so we don't really have that blend at this moment. I know that Pete and John are over there working on it, but he's a guy who would fix all those problems real quickly.
Oh yes, Marshawn is like you said, it's a perfect example that those 4 yard losses that Christine Michael and a couple of the other guys on our team had last year. Marshawn would make those no gains or 4 yard gains or like the most impressive 5 yard run you've ever seen in your life. But we just don't have that right now. And if we were to make a trade, hopefully we don't. But if we were, this is one of the guys that I would like to see on the squad. Another guy that I would like to see, Dalvin Cook from Florida State. He was one of the top performers at the combine in the bench press with 22 reps. So he's got some power, more reps than Leonard Fournette. But the tail of the tape is something different. Tape is something that everyone should watch. It's with the pads on and everything. Everyone can work out. It's the NFL.
Yeah.
Everyone can run. Everyone can work out. It's kind of what they do. So you have to watch film on these guys, and when you put on the film on Dalvin Cook, he's more of an elusive guy. Not that he won't run you over, because he definitely will, but he chooses to juke people out and goes for 60, 70 yards. He's got some speed to him, and he's got that next level talent. I like him just as much, if not more, than I like Leonard Fournette, and I think that he'd really be successful, especially being able to catch passes, something that Fournette doesn't really do.
Yeah, I'm not that high on him, but I think he's definitely a special player. I think he has the potential to be great. I see him more as a potential guy, more of a guy who shows a lot of promise in the league, but not a guarantee. I wouldn't say he's a lock to be great, a lock to be a good player and make an impact on your team. Like you said, he's got that elusiveness, he's got the speed, he's got a little bit of power on top of that, but nothing that wows me quite like Fournette wows me. I think he's gonna be someone who comes in the league and shines, but maybe not as long or as dominant as Leonard Fournette.
I feel it. Another guy coming from Seattle, both of us, although we're in LA, also a Pac-12 town.
USC, we are right down the street.
Right down the street. We got another guy in the Pac-12 talking about first-round potential pick. Some say late first round, some say he's got a mid-first round guarantee from some teams. But Christian McCaffrey out of Stanford, what do you think about this guy?
Christian McCaffrey is a special, unique player, a guy who comes around only every once in a while. He's got like Cook, he's got a little bit of everything. But he's really got that speed. I feel like that elusiveness is just on another level. So that's what I mean by between the difference between Cook and McCaffrey. McCaffrey, he shines in a couple areas. He's definitely not powerful. I worry about his strength and lasting a long time in the league. But he's definitely he has something to bring to the table, and I think that he will bring something to the table immediately. He'll make an immediate impact on whatever team he goes to, and and he'll do everything for you. That's a special thing to have in a player, someone who can do, punt return, kick return, all that kind of stuff. And he's the son,
of course, of Ed McCaffrey, the legend of Denver, John Elway's favorite target, I believe.
Yes.
And I'm a big Christian McCaffrey fan, and the main reason is because he's a white guy. That's the main reason that I love Christian McCaffrey, and it's because it's a position so dominated by African Americans that I want to see somebody like him be successful. And he deserves it. He's AP Player of the Year, although he didn't win the Heisman. I don't know how. He's a guy that does it all, like you said. He was the kick returner, he was the quarterback, the running back, the receiver. He did everything for Stanford. They're wildly successful. David Shaw is doing a great job, as he always does there at Stanford. And Christian McCaffrey, in a system where it's meant for players to not stand out, was obviously the standout player. And everything, he was 1/100th. I believe that's 0.01 slower than Kevin King for the fastest three-cone drill in the entire combine. And that's what I want in my running back, a running back that can, dissect the play and then make a quick cut, a cut back. That's what the three-cone drills are for. There's, certain drills that, everyone can run the 40 and everyone looks forward to. That's how you get paid. Look at John Ross. But some of these drills are for how they're going to react on the field, and you can see it. If somebody's able to cut back that quickly, that's who I want, on the field. So not only is he a white guy, he's also very good at football. So I hope that he's successful, and he's my favorite running back in this draft class. But another guy coming out is from Tennessee.
Yes.
Somebody I saw was his name is Alvin Kamara. He wasn't overly impressive statistically. Joshua Dobbs, the quarterback there, he pretty much did it all. Passed, ran. He was kind of like it kind of reminded me of like a Michael Vick, Warp Dunn scenario where the running back was pretty good, but he wasn't, Mike Vick. Not that Joshua Dobbs is Mike Vick, so don't quote me on that. But Alvin Kamara showed up at the combine, was very impressive, was right up there with, the big three, if you will, and really showed out. Did you see anything you liked from Kamara, or is there somebody else that you particularly liked?
No, I like Alvin Kamara. I think he's got he's more of an agile guy, but big, 214, comes at 214. And yeah, just an impressive athlete, and those sometimes work out, they sometimes don't. When you're going into the NFL, sometimes just being an athlete is enough, and it translates. Guys don't think that you have this quality or you need that quality, but if you're a hard worker and you're willing to put in the work, and you have the athleticism, that can take you somewhere. So I think as a guy like that.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So the next guy that we got here is hailing from San Diego State.
Yes.
I believe that is in California.
Yes.
And it's a little guy.
Yes. 2 hours south.
No disrespect to Donnell Pumphrey Jr. And if you haven't heard of him, please.
Yes.
I believe, to me, he sounds like the epitome of a Seahawks. The undersized guy. Yeah. Pretty much everyone has written him off as a top talent. He's been amazing. Absolutely been amazing. He's broken tons and tons of records. Has taken hits, and really led his team all 4 years that he was there, and has been durable, over 300 carries per season. Hasn't really gotten hurt, especially for being a little guy. I believe he's 5'8", 176 pounds. That's tiny. That's high school numbers, to be honest with you. But like I said, he's the epitome of a Seahawk. He's got something to prove. You look at everyone that's been on the Seahawks team that's getting paid right now. Bobby Wagner, Russ Wilson, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl, but Earl was a first-round pick. But all those guys came out with something to prove. They were making, not league minimum, but darn near close. And, came out and produced. And I see Pumphrey is one of those guys. He's not going to be a top-round selection. Any way you look at it, standing at 5'8", soaking wet, 176 pounds. So, he's going to get – you think, and guys like Myles Garrett, J.J. Watt are going to just crush him, but he continues to prove people wrong. He continues to produce, and he's somebody I want on my team. I would love to give him a chance on our team. We have Eddie Lacy and some other guys, CJ Prosise coming back, to pick up the slack, and I really don't expect a rookie to outproduce any of those guys anyway. So he's just somebody that I think a later round selection, if we were to not get one of these elite guys that we know we could pick him up later on in the draft.
Yeah, Donald Pumphrey is definitely a favorite. But I think I don't want us to pick him too early. Definitely later in the round type of a guy. But a great, like you said, epitome of a Seahawk. Great player. The only thing I'd worry about is his size. I think we really are like someone with a little bit more size at that position. But maybe he could put some more weight in the weight room.
Speaking of guys that could use some more weight in the weight room, this guy has a lot of weight already. James Conner, he's a baller, but he has some medical issues. Hodgkin's lymphoma kept him out a couple games, and he's struggled with it. But came back with a clear scan, had a decent combine, wasn't overly impressive, wasn't one of the top performers. But if you look at his tape from his sophomore year at Pitt, he did well, and he just hasn't come back to those numbers just yet. He had that explosiveness. Was well over 1,700 rushing yards, I believe, over 20 touchdowns that season, as a sophomore. So high expectations his junior year, but that Hodgkin's lymphoma kept him out, and he's slowly and steadily built back some strength and been back to the type of running back that he was, but he just hasn't reached that level yet. This will be the second year now since his injury, if you will. What do you think about him, and do you think that he has the potential to be a Seahawk, or would you rather not take a risk on somebody?
Oh, no, I would love to take a risk on him. He just seems like a football player, and that's what I like at the Seahawks. I like guys who just seem like they bring something different. He's a unique runner. I think the way he's got a little bit of speed. He's definitely got the size, and he runs kind of straight up. Where a lot of guys, they kind of run pad level. And so I think that could translate well to the NFL, because guys who can run like that and then run you over, it's hard to take them down. They're just already too strong. They don't need to try and run you over. They just are by being there, in the direction they're going. You're gonna have to stop him. So definitely a guy I like, and a guy who I think could be a good Seahawk.
I agree. One of the last couple guys I like is a Badger, Corey Clement. He's had some issues on and off the field. Overall, I think a really good running back, potentially. The thing about Wisconsin is they generally have good offensive line and just good players overall. Our guy Russ came from Wisconsin, and potentially some offensive linemen that we'll talk about later are going to come from Wisconsin. So just not sure. Is Corey Clement more a product of his environment, or is he ready to take that next step into elite as a running back? I think he's a good running back. He played well. Had 38 touchdowns in 39 games in college, was durable. Just had a couple of off-field issues, and so it's not uncommon in the NFL today, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it. But nonetheless, on the field, he's a good running back, produces, can run inside, outside, has decent speed, won't wow you, but I think is a solid mid to late round pick. How do you feel about Corey Clement?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Corey Clement. Like guys like that, I feel like our roster already has enough, of depth. And it's like I'd rather try and get someone who has the potential to be a 1A. So I'm not too worried about the depth at the running back position at this point. So the thing I didn't like when I was watching him is, for one, he was like you said, he's injured a lot, didn't play a lot. And I think that we need guys that are durable. We saw last year what happens when we don't have running backs that are durable. It affects our whole offense. So I don't need another guy who's not durable. And I also, he had a lot of holes that he could go through, like you said. Wisconsin has a great offensive line, kind of always known for that offensive line. And I think that he needs to continue. He would have to show that he can do it without a great offensive line. And I don't know if this would be the right fit for him. Maybe somewhere else where they already have a running game, they just want to bring up a running back. He may be able to work out there, but with this team, you need to come in being a great runner and proving that you're durable. So.
Well, I got another one for you then.
Okay.
Another guy that came from a school, but that also had a very good offensive lineman, All-American, I believe, that we'll be talking about later. He's another future potential first-round selection for the Seattle Seahawks. But this guy, Joe Williams, running back out of Utah, speedster. Go ahead. You talk about him a little bit. He's been excited about talking about Joe Williams for some time now. So.
Well, I saw Joe Williams against UW, and I think he's just a special, unique running back. In every draft, you can kind of just take a late round flyer on a guy who could be a difference maker. Maybe other teams don't like that he doesn't do. Pete always says when he looks at players, he likes to look for what they can do for the team. What can they bring to the team? And I think a guy who just can bring that raw speed and just take off at any moment is always an impact and always a nice guy to have on your team. Even if that means in the NFL, maybe it's only 25, 30 yards, where he's taking off for 75, 60 before. You'd have games with 300 rushing yards. He had a really good year, and he also could be a bust. He could be a guy that could come in the league and he just can't take the hits, or he may not just have what it takes to be in the NFL. But just a guy who I'd like to see a late round flyer on.
Yeah, I agree with you. A guy that could be really good in the NFL, good for the Seahawks. Especially with a lot of our speed going down this past year. Pro Size went out after a great game against the Patriots, and then Lockett went out, and speed was decreasing, declining. Earl Thomas got hurt, a lot of big injuries, and so having more guys with speed that can fit into roles in the offense, that if guys get hurt, that you can just try to plug and play the same scheme at least as much as possible. But the thing that worries about me, you kind of brought this up, is he could be a one-hit wonder. He did only have one good year and didn't really face an adjustment period. There's the thing about the NFL or any kind of football is, teams, if they haven't seen you, you have the advantage over them. So it's that first off season that teams have to adjust to you, and the scheme that your team runs with you in the lineup is something that he hasn't had to go through. He didn't have to go through that with Utah, and good for him. He came out when his stock was high, ready to go to the NFL, and that's on a personal level, I'm very glad for Joe and hope that it all works out for him. But for as a GM, or from that standpoint, it's you wonder if he can make those adjustments. Once teams, especially in the NFL, teams make adjustments quick. It doesn't take a full season for an NFL team to make an adjustment. It takes 2-3 weeks, and then they got your number. Look at what happened to Carson Wentz in Philadelphia, and I like Carson Wentz a lot. So we'll see how he does. I wouldn't mind a late round pick on him if we cover some other categories first. But if Joe Williams is on the board and he's one of the best of the rest, I'm fine with taking him. So I think that about wraps it up for our running backs. Let us know what you think, who we should draft, and we're about a little over a week away from draft day. So go Hawks.
Go Hawks.